Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be here. You guys are the community. I tend to do more technical things, business-oriented things, but you are the consumer, you are the customer, you're the people that can make this mobility evolution that I see coming at us happen. So I'm going to try and move quick. I got a lot of slides, but long story short, I think there's a disruptive mobility moment coming. We're going to see new manufacturers, we're going to see new models, we're going to see all sorts of room for unique innovation and tons of space for startups. And so I really want to broadcast the message today. If you're interested in the space, get autonomy kind of into your mind, because right now the barriers are entry to high, but we want to do something about that, because you guys are the ones that know what an autonomous vehicle, what kind of services, what kind of experience you want. You guys know what's the best value proposition and what you're prepared to pay for, in short, because sustainable revenue models are, in fact, important. So I wanted to show you, as a kind of a catalyst, some things about autonomous mobility that you might not be aware of just yet, because it's beyond Waymo, Cruise, and so on and so forth. So just last week, there was a race here. This is a kind of a unique series with college students called the India Autonomous Challenge, but this is a fully autonomous Dallara race car, configured just like your average autonomous vehicle or robot with LiDAR, camera, GPS, etc., etc. But they then also race these at very high speeds on raceways.
Has come
just very briefly here.
disaster at the last two speed thresholds, but has been able to thread that needle. Here he
This
comes
is the
to
finals.
outside. Up in the gray stuff, and around they go. Toom spins and polymove backs
So-
up his two.
Unfortunately, this was the Technical University of Munich. At this race, they lost traction. That happens. These are super high speeds. Things get complicated. Things are rattling. But what's fascinating about that video is the control technology that was at work. It lost control, but it conducted safety maneuvers to do what it could, not to go slamming into the infield or into the wall. And these kind of attributes are going to trickle their way into robots and autonomous vehicles. And again, you guys are the best to sort of understand these, evaluate these, and otherwise. So another example of innovation, because I'm trying to draw innovators out of the audience and show that it's not, you don't have to be a technical person or engineer to come up with amazing autonomous use cases. So for example, here I love this company. This is Adastech out of Turkey originally, has a base here in Michigan. Some of you might know them. You could go up to Michigan State and get a ride on this autonomous bus. It's been operating on the campus for some time now. It still has a safety driver. But the innovation here started as a little old Turkish company using open source software, started working with a Turkish bus manufacturer, and met the needs that Michigan State was looking for. So innovation and creativity are key here. And it's not, again, it's not the exclusive domain of the existing OEMs. This is something we did out at Brighton High School. This is a little demo. Happens to be our PIX moving robo bus that we have here in the United States in Brighton, Michigan, and are kind of looking for proof of concept projects. But this was just working with some of the students. We kind of mocked up the idea at a resort. The autonomous shuttle took you to the tennis court, if you will. And behind that, if you think about that, how many use cases there are out there. This was actually a human-driven, low speed shuttle, but you could have this be autonomous just as quickly, up the value proposition that the driver provides by making him or her a little bit more of a concierge service, and proceed from there. Autonomous agriculture is also huge. That's a talk unto itself. Let me flip past it, but this is one I particularly like. We were at the AutoSense show in Detroit. This young woman was enamored with the possibilities of the vehicle and is also doing, in addition to her regular job there, she does hair and makeup on the side, and expressed how she would love something like this. Her clients would love something like this that comes to the house and then goes off to the next client. But we don't have on-ramps for this right now. There's not an ecosystem. Where could she and I start working together? This is also, by the way, we see things like Tech Lab coming up now. Perfect. More of the same. This might be an opportunity for her to, engage in this space. But what I love again about her was she's seeing utility for the autonomous capability, and that's something that anybody here can come up with as much as any traditional automotive executive. Another simple example, mobile autonomous infotainment. Are there revenue streams to be had there? Are there value propositions to be had? I used our PixKit developer chassis here. This was from last Halloween. Had it run around the neighborhood playing videos. It was a big hit. I had to leave it at that, but it certainly proved its point. Let's see if we can flip on. Maybe a little bit of a hanging up here, Nick. Is that me? Oh, here we go. So, kind of the last theme. So you see all these creative options. How do you get involved? And there is a lot going on, as you've seen there. There are open source communities for autonomous software that you can get involved with. It's free. You can see how this stuff works. It's not mysterious. And there are growing communities online and locally. It's about local presence as well for this stuff. People need to be able to access the hardware. That's what we're trying to do with Pix. Still has to come up with these unique and autonomous solutions. Another example here, Purdue University is now starting an autonomous go-kart series for those that are into racing at a somewhat smaller scale. I also ran into someone here who was fantastic from U of M Robotics Department, U of M Robotics Club. That's something probably worth looking into, other schools as well. But, get the community sense of things going. Where I also do volunteer work at the AutoWare Foundation, autoware.org, if anyone's interested. That's a full open source driving stack with some additional tools. This, for example, is awesome, the AutoWare Simulator. You can bring your environment into it, test your cases, define your little scenarios without an extensive learning curve to get involved or any kind of fees. It's all open source and it's all free. Lastly, by way of an example, because Brighton High School was kind enough to allow us to have our vehicles be there in exchange for working with the students, I was floored by these high school students. They came into the room, proceeded to walk directly past me, going right to the chassis, sort of ignoring the adult presence in the room, and like ants on an Oreo, started working on this autonomous chassis. And by golly, they assembled it. And then, I kind of just herd a little bit and fielded any questions, but with absolutely minimal effort, not only did they assemble that PixKit chassis sensor and computer stack, we went out, they recorded a point cloud. This is a point cloud. This is how autonomous vehicles or certain autonomous vehicles run. Recorded a point cloud in the parking lot, and then subsequently drove a couple of loops around the parking lot autonomously, which was basically something from start to finish that these high school students did, which was literally just amazing. So, question and a statement to you, there's two variations. This thing can tow, and you can also consider the robo bus for things like mobile retail or these kind of applications. So I want you guys to think about it, educate yourselves, the opportunity are there. We have to lower these barriers because otherwise we just won't get the innovation that we need, because it can't come from traditional automotive OEM. So I ran over the time. Thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure.